heard about this lawsuit. Oh no, wait. Did I watch that one with the Ice Spice first? Oh, Ice Spice lost her entire audience in 1 year.
Ice Spice been in the worst position she's ever been in. She constantly in the news for people hating on her music or something bad going on.
Her music sucks. I'm sorry. It's just not good. I She rode the wave of her trending song, "Get Like Munch" or something like that, and I feel like she just died down so quickly. Nicki Minaj showcased how she's more talented than she was when she was around the same age or around the same, like, her first year in the business. I'm not a fan of Nicki Minaj. I'm not a fan of Megan Thee Stallion, but holy shit, they have way more relevancy compared to her. But again, her career is still very new, I guess you could say. So it's not over yet. She still could come out with a big ass banger album, even though it's not my type of music. But oh my god, it just looks really bad. I think she only sold like 4,000 copies of her. I think it was like her first album. I have no. I'm
And then
confused.
just a few months ago, she was in the news for nearly losing all of her monthly listeners on Spotify. All Hip Hop wrote this. So get this, between August 2023 and June 2024, Ice Spice saw her monthly listeners drop by a jaw-dropping 67%.
Damn.
According to a recent report, that's 31 million listeners gone. She hit her peak of 47 million listeners back in August 2023, but now a mere month before her debut album, Y2K, she's sitting at 15 million. Then on top of all of that, the woman just got booed off stage. And it's not a surprise to people, if I'm being honest. Back in 2024, that wasn't really a year that was really crazy for her, but she had a lot going on back in 2023. 2024 came around, we would really see her music and career slow down a lot. We even seen her get hit with a lawsuit. All throughout 2024, she was facing this lawsuit. Basically, it was a rapper. He came out, he was like, look, Ice Spice a fraud. She had this song called In Her Mood come out. He said she a fraud. She stole his flow. She got the song from him. Basically, he claimed Ice Spice stole his sauce. Billboard wrote this. Ice Spice is facing a copyright lawsuit over allegations that her recent hit, In Her Mood, was copied from a Brooklyn rapper's earlier track. In a complaint filed Wednesday in Brooklyn federal court, the rapper D Chambers says that Ice Spice 2023 song is strikingly similar to his own song called In That Mood that was released in 2021. His lawyer said by every method of analysis, In Her Mood is forgery. D Chambers attorneys write in their complaint obtained by Billboard, any proper comparative analysis of the beat, lyrics, hook, rhythmic structure, and narrative context would demonstrate that In Her Mood was copied. And so he had this lawsuit up against Ice Spice. But there was a problem. You can't just go to the court and be like, oh yeah, so-and-so stole this from me. He had to prove that it was even possible that Ice Spice could have heard the song. Basically, court said you gotta prove that there was access to the song, and he did that. He came out, he was like, look, yeah, I showed the song to my IG followers. He said he had a decent amount of, but not only did he put this song on IG and maybe SoundCloud or something, the song was getting quote unquote significant airplay on many New York stations like Hot 97 or Power 105.1. Then the man went on to say that Ice Spice's main producer, the man that produced Ice Spice's song In A Mood, was listening to Hot 97 on his IG story less than 2 minutes before his song was played on air. So his lawyer was coming at Ice Spice and them hard. They was trying to pull everything they could for this. And you can actually read the entire lawsuit online, but I'm not reading the whole thing in this video. But after a few months of this lawsuit going on and Ice Spice's lawyers trying to cook something up, we would see the Ice Spice settled. If you remember in my Ice Spice video from like July, I talked about this lawsuit, but it wasn't settled then. But in these months since then, that lawsuit was settled. After all that back and forth, a motion was filed back in September. In a motion filed in federal court Friday, attorneys from both sides said they agreed to resolve the lawsuit. Specific terms of the deals was not disclosed in the court filings, and neither side immediately returned requests for the comment. So it got settled in court, but nobody want to say specifically how it got settled. That's for you to figure out what that means. But if it passed that, leading up to 2024, she didn't even release her debut album yet. So she was pushing out all these singles. She was building up all this social media following. She was building up all of this that she had going on. Come around and drop this debut album. She was building a fan base, so had the Barbie movie, She was trying to really make plays for this album. And she didn't really start promoting this album until summer 2024 came around. She would start teasing this whole new album, Y2K. And for a minute, she was teasing. And what's crazy is the promo
such a
for
bad
this
album cover, dude. I don't know who the fuck thought of that idea.
Foreshadowing what was gonna happen once she dropped this album. See, just off the announcement of the cover art, people was mad. Now, if I'm gonna be honest, it don't matter to me. It's not a terrible cover. I done seen worse. Y'all seen that Juice WRLD cover. That's a lot worse than what Ice Spice had going on. But people online was real picky about this cover, like they are with anything else. One article wrote this: the artwork features other nods to New York City roots, including a custom subway sign and a Metro card, along with a trash can tag with the name of her album.
So what was the new album that she came out with then? I'm confused.
Album. The cover was quickly trashed by fans on social media, with one writing, Y2K could have been a futuristic take. Like, how do we miss it? This looks like a ghetto Sesame Street. That was kind of crazy. So before the album
like
came out, people was already building narratives about it. And if you watch my last video, this sound real familiar, don't it? People did the same thing to Lil Baby. They formed all these narratives about his album before it even came out. So they was forming these narratives about Ice Spice album, and the album came out and kind of proved all the narratives right. I'm not even gonna lie to you. The album flopped bad, and it was made so much worse by someone of her size. Think about how big Ice Spice was. Over the past few years, she had songs with Nicki Minaj. She was featured on the Barbie movie soundtrack. She had
like a collab on McDonald's, I believe, too.
Song with Taylor Swift. I think the biggest artist on the planet. Now, I might be over-exaggerating right there, but Taylor Swift up there, my nigga. So all of this just goes to say that Ice Spice is not no-brainer. She had the whole industry pushing behind her. Right? And for her debut album to come out and sell 20K, that's kind of crazy.
That's
after
really
the
bad.
sale, she stood on it. She was happy, and she was really appreciating that people even listened to her instead of, you know, complaining online saying that, oh, the industry tried to blackball her like some of these other rappers would do. Ice Spice is celebrating the first week numbers for her long-awaited debut studio album, Y2K.
Which, honestly, it is a very bad number for an artist like her because they push her hard, like really hard in the mainstream. So that is very bad numbers. If she was like indie, like true indie, then that would have been amazing. 28,000 as an indie artist would have been amazing because that's less people in the project. That means you most likely will still like make good money. But 28,000 on her debut album, it is really. Okay, sorry. I was playing Dokkan Battle. Oh no, Dokkan. I forgot what the name is called. Anyway, Dokkan Legend. There we go. Oh, Dragon Ball Legend. Sorry. Anyways, 28,000 is really bad for a mainstream artist like her because she was mainstream of how much she was crossovering with a bunch of artists, endorsements, crossovers with those things. Yeah. So her doing that bad is really. I mean, kudos to her about her saying, "Hey, thanks for hearing my album and all that," but that's still really bad.
Per chart data, the Bronx rapper's full-length project debuted at number 18 on the Billboard 200 with 28 equivalent album units. Who previously scored 4 top 10 hits on the Billboard Top 100. Ice responded to the news by celebrating how far she's came from her last EP in 2023. I mean, that's a fair take. Her first EP sold 15K, her next album sold 28K.
What labels are really good at doing is creating brainwashing to fans to say this is the hot thing, and if you're not tuned in, it's FOMO. And whether they started by fake numbers or fake stories or fake relationship, eventually you buy in. And that's what I always tell you. Like, remember I was talking about the botting situation? The botting situation don't mean, if somebody botted some views, it don't mean that 3 months later it's gonna be 90% botted. It's probably gonna be 5% botted. The bot is just to get you brainwashed. Yo, this is hot. You're missing out if you ain't listening to it. So you know what you do? If everybody listen, let me go listen. You go listen. You might like it,
how it works with
or maybe you don't even really like it, but it's kind of like FOMO. There's no reason why Ice Spice
still exists to this day.
She should be dropping singles, collabs. You know what I would have done?
She's doing the she should have done the Cardi B route because Cardi B is one of the worst rappers alive. But I will give her and her team very much credit. They know how to market her very, very well because I believe she only made 1 album and that's it. Ever since then, she only did features and that's it. Or singles. That's it.
I would try to get her with Sexy Red and drop not an album, a 4-pack, something that's really an EP, 4 songs, and we're gonna work all 4 of those songs at sync. Again, I don't think her label did her any
Oh, okay, that
favors.
could have worked too.
They're getting on the right features, blah blah. Now, some of the things by her own doing hasn't helped her. Falling out with Nicki, a few other things that I won't mention.
True.
Her best friend keep exposing her, but
I mean, she should have kept the relationship with Nicki Minaj because she has a core, like, very cult-like fan base that would have helped her out so much. Like her, because it could have been passing the torch kind of thing.
still is Ice Spice. Very pretty girl. They're marketing her of sexuality. That's working. And even though she's not the best songwriter and the songs aren't the most prolific, they are working for the short period of time. And her songs had a burnout period of about 2 to 3 months. So as long as she kept replenishing, her buzz seemed like it was continuing. Also, she fits the bill. Pretty, young, attractive, doesn't say much. We don't know her opinions about nothing. We don't even like what she likes for breakfast.
But not only did it sell 20K, it also sparked up a couple of beefs. So leading up to this
Did it
album,
really?
she had kind of been getting into it with a couple rappers. She was beefing with Lotto a little bit, getting into it with Cardi B a little bit. But on this album, she had a couple of lyrics for some of these artists. And Cardi B and Ice Spice had ended up getting into their own situation about the album. But this album also made people realize that Ice Spice is garbage. I'm not gonna lie to you. People had always looked at her like an unserious artist, but this proved to everybody that Ice Spice was nothing more than a gimmick rapper. People seen, oh, it's a fine lady. That's why they listen to it. If Ice Spice didn't look how she looked, would people still be listening to the music? But before I keep going on, make sure you tap in with me on IG at GetLikePrincee. I'm trying to grow over there too. But past this album, the controversy
hey, bro,
ain't stopped.
friends, don't
See,
try to get big on
Ice
TikTok.
Spice had been online posting shit like, oh yeah, I'm in the
That's the
gym, I'm
US.
eating better, and she was starting to get skinny. And y'all know how toxic the internet is when it comes to anything. She would get online and post a pic just trying to show off that she'd been in the gym, and people
Oh, by the way, guys, it's unrelated, but I believe if the TikTok thing ban does happen on the United States, Instagram, Twitter, and a lot of these like places that have shorts will grow up significantly a lot, guys. Because a lot of those people are gonna come into these platforms. They're gonna grow all of these platforms with the shorts content. I think that's why YouTube is betting on short content right now because TikTok is shutting down in the 19. If that's really happening.
people will
betting
get
on
to
it or
being
something.
crazy. People will get to start talking wild to Ice Spice. They'd be like, oh, you on Ozempic. Oh, you look nasty. Blah, blah, blah. Really talking down.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
And
she
the
lost a lot of
rumors about
weight.
Ozempic
Crazy.
and how her body was looking was getting so bad that she had to come out responding to everything.
It's called the gym. It's called eating healthy. It's called being on tour.
Yes.
Fuck.
Like
Like, what the hell? It
a
maybe
sold
if I
out
was
tour.
sitting home all day, it'd be easier to stay big.
But by this point, Ice Spice was kind of at the lowest point in her career. And it's interesting seeing that because 2024 was a year full of gimmick rappers. Dave Blunts, for example, the nigga blew up because the man was fat. He was rapping with a high-pitched voice. So people was like, oh, let's go listen to Dave Blunts. He was getting so much traction, in fact, the nigga was performing at Juice World Day.
Oh,
Another
yeah.
example. We had Ian blow up because he was this white dude rapping like Future and Gucci Mane. And we done had so many other artists in the underground and even the mainstream that done came up off gimmicks, off doing something that don't match their image or looking a certain way or doing this or doing that. So it was a lot of gimmicks going on. And I'm not saying none of this in a disrespectful way. I'm just making a real observation. And you know yourself, if you really been keeping up with hip hop, you
Yeah.
done seen a lot of the gimmicks going on.
Oh, yeah,
But
100%.
Ice Spice kind of fell into that trap where people just thought she looked good and that was her gimmick because the music never really
I mean, Rick Ross was the gimmick with playing as Ricky Ross, the character in the rap game. You know, a lot of these rappers play a character to like amplify their image as a rapper, right? Like I mean, it's been a thing, right? It's been a known thing. What was the current one that I could think of? Was I believe it was Takashi. He wasn't really a gangster in so many cases, but it's like that worked for him. Or even that one other white dude that does like gangster like rap, but he's like really rich and he's not like part of the culture or like he's never been ghetto or anything like that, but he makes like music of like drill music and all that. Um yeah. But yeah, they were coming after her because she was losing a lot of weight. I remember
It
that.
sounded good if I'm being honest with you. But for her downfall to happen in the year of the gimmick rappers is very telling. But all of this leads up to what I spoke on at the start of the video. She was already receiving all this backlash from everything else that was happening. Then we would see this backlash for the first time come at her in person. So she was in Australia and she was performing for New Year's, but it was New Year's and she was performing right before 12, right before the final show, like the headlines of the show. The two headliners was a duo, a drum and bass duo, and they were like doing the New Year's performance. So this how it went. Ice Spice show came around 10:30, but she ended up showing 25 minutes late to her show. So she started at 10:55 instead of the regular time. And this
my God.
problems would come. Guardian wrote this. She was 25 minutes late and starting her show at 10:55, and after only 2 songs, she left. Gold Coast-based music producer and journalist Brenton Larney was in the crowd for the 6-minute show. At 11:01 p.m., they gave her an extra minute, then they cut the mic and you heard a collective sigh from the crowd. They had been waiting for this for a while and all they got was 2 songs. So it was a bit ridiculous and real disrespectful how she just walked off. She was laughing, they tried to give her flowers for her birthday and she shrugged it off. Larney said that Ice Spice appeared quiet as if she didn't even want to be there to begin with. And went on to say it was just real disrespectful, especially seeing with all the cancellations and stuff we done
God damn, dude. You
Big
baby.
ideas.
had in the Australian music scene. The article went on to say this. Mia Sims, a 20-year-old dance teacher from the Gold Coast, said that she and many others was already waiting 30 minutes before Ice Spice show was scheduled to start to get a good place in the mosh pit.
Wow.
Meaning, many had been pressed together for almost an hour in total for the brief set, for the 6-minute set, for 2 songs people waited an hour for. Mia said she came out, played 2 songs, and they weren't even 2 of her most popular songs. They was just 2 songs. She said it seemed like kind of a bit of a joke, like she didn't really care that much, especially when she hasn't posted anything on her socials and apologized, so I couldn't imagine being one of her biggest fans in this habit. So Ice Spice kind of dragged herself into this. She showed up late, didn't
The
apologize.
First guys, they were fans of
on 2
Ice
songs,
Spice.
walked off, and it was bad. People paid for this. It was probably some people in that crowd who paid to see Ice Spice. And it's not really nothing new. We done seen this happen to some artists over the years. Remember Frank Ocean, Coachella? That man went viral because of how bad that performance was. And they kind of throwing this Ice Spice situation in with that. But what makes it worse is the state her career was already in leading up to that moment. So for her to put this on top of everything just made her look worse. Then that ain't even mentioning what came out as I was making this video. So remember, Ice Spice had dropped her Y2K album back in July. And time comes for her to drop this deluxe, and she does it in December. She does it at the end of the year. And can you guess how much Ice Spice sold first week? Ice Spice sold 4.8 thousand copies first week with her deluxe. And people really looking at her crazy right now. Hot New Hip Hop wrote this. Are folks taking these numbers too out of context? Ice Spice capped her for her 2024 by releasing Y2K I'm Just a Girl deluxe version to her July album. But it seemed like it came at a bad time. Moreover, new reports suggest that the project sold a measly 4,800 copies in its first week, which is very low even in the music industry environment that positions streaming as the main consumption model, thus lowering wholesale performance. However, despite many fans clowning or speculating on this perceived drop-off, there are a couple factors that could explain this. One is how these numbers might account for a handful of songs on the project as a whole, as singles for it had been previously released. And it's crazy seeing her flop like this because her social media presence is really big. She's constantly going viral for something. And for that not to translate to the music is real telling. If I can compare it to anyone who goes viral for shit outside of the music, but it gives their music more attention, it gotta be Playboi Carti. Think about all the times this man done went viral from wearing some BS, saying something stupid, doing something stupid, and it translated back to the music. Remember a few months ago when the man was wearing thong and it went viral everywhere? Well, that happened and it kind of translated back to the music. His music kept getting more attention. That album he was hyping up, it just brought attention to that. People like, oh, Carti wearing a thong? Like, bro, his music can't be that good. That's probably how people was feeling. And for them not to feel that way about Ice Spice is kind of crazy. For Ice Spice to sell 4,000 copies first week when she's always in the news about something is saying a lot. I'm
That's
curious on
sad.
if she could turn her career around or not, because she in a real similar situation to Lil Baby. Remember how I spoke about they was building narratives on his album? Did the same thing to her. And in my last video, I spoke on how he was on his last leg right now, and that album that he dropped on Friday gonna determine a lot for his career. If you want to hear more about Lil Baby, that vid on screen right now.
Oh yeah, how bad was Lil Baby's album, by the way? I don't know. Or was it good? Because remember, they had, like you said, that was like his like. Did he make it big or not? Let me see. Hold up. Lil Baby. Uh, let's see. What was his last? It was Wham, right? No. What was his last album? It was Wham, right? That was in. Yeah, it just dropped on the 3rd. Let's see. 4 new songs for the deluxe thing. Let's see. Sales. So let's see. Updated first week of Wham sales. Um, it's been dropped since 2010. But you saw 130K first week of Wham. Academics confirmed when he tweeted the number on January 7th. It was safe to bet another Baby's fans were even more into the product than expected. Wham ended up selling 145K. Wow, that's actually really good. That makes his 4th #1 album. That's actually really great. You got out. You got out of the slumber. Those people are saying. That, I mean, hey, good for him. There you go. I mean, well, with her, I mean, her debut album was bad, but that does not mean that her second album cannot become better. She really focuses. She has to really focus on her music though, and focus on like getting better writers or something.